Sorry I didn't get a chance to record anything yesterday, but it occurred to me this morning that I still have not addressed the elephant in the room that everyone, I'm sure, has been waiting for my take on. The presidential campaign of one Nikki Haley. Now, to be fair, I know that so many of you are disappointed that I didn't get to this sooner, but I had already forgotten that she was running for president. It's hard to believe that we have two presidential candidates already running for the 2024 election, and it just doesn't feel like that. Neither of them have any real presence. At least Donald Trump has name recognition and stuff. Nikki Haley has nothing. I can go through all the reasons, why she's neocon trash and why she doesn't deserve your vote, but you folks know that already, and frankly, I don't need to go through that because she has no chance of winning. She's barely worth addressing. In fact, what is remarkable about Nikki Haley is how unremarkable she is, and that puzzles me. It makes me wonder, what is this campaign all about? What is the purpose? It reminds me of another South Carolina presidential candidate from the 2016 campaign, and that, of course, was Lindsey Graham, who, as we all know, is a big supporter of Donald Trump, endorsed him already, and was present at his campaign announcement. Lindsey Graham, the electoral juggernaut. I'm sure that Trump is certain to win the nomination now that he has Lindsey Graham's endorsement. But anyway, like Nikki Haley, Lindsey Graham ran for president in 2016 on the platform of starting new wars. That was pretty much what he had in mind. That's all he ever talked about. He thought that there wasn't enough aggressive foreign policy talk, and so he got into the race to jazz it up. And of course, he never went anywhere, which is rather strange. There were a lot of people like that in 2016 on the Republican side. You had Jim Gilmore. I'm sure none of you have ever heard of him. I hadn't heard of him either. In fact, I only know who he is because he was the most unremarkable candidate in all of the 2016 presidential cycle. We had John Kasich, another bizarre candidate who never had any chance of winning and whose odds never improved, yet he was the last man standing there, even after Ted Cruz dropped out. John Kasich was just hanging around. And so what is Nikki Haley's aim? Does she have an aim? As we found out in 2016, a lot of these guys, there wasn't any deeper meaning behind their candidacy. It never materialized. It never made any sense and still doesn't to this day. I guess you could say that John Kasich was able to meme himself into a CNN contributorship. But he didn't need money from that. He was a governor of Ohio, and he was a congressman before that. John Kasich was plenty corrupt to have amassed his own fortune. He didn't need to become a CNN contributor. What do those make, like $80,000 a year? And in Nikki Haley's case, I don't think she ever had a contract with Fox News, but she could easily get herself a permanent slot in the Fox News lineup. She's very well liked by them. She also was on the board of a defense contractor, I believe Boeing, after she was the ambassador to the United Nations. And she gave up that very lucrative post because, there was some culture war thing why she resigned. And, that was a clear sign, hey, she wants to run for president and actually make a run of it. She's not just trying to make money, which, again, I found puzzling at the time. If her goal was just to run for president to make money. So this is someone who has delusions of grandeur about herself. She really does believe that she will be the first female president, and she's not in this for money. Nikki Haley is about power and status. She has absolutely zero principles. She has zero constituency, and she has zero identity. In fact, it's very strange. Her campaign slogan at this point, or at least her opening message, was, I grew up in a small town in South Carolina, and The railroad tracks divided us between black and white, and I was neither one. I was something different. I was brown. Absolutely bizarre messaging, and I can't believe, well, I can believe actually, that she's paying consultants millions of dollars to come up with this shit. Think about it. Her opening message is to say, I don't identify with either of the two largest groups in the United States. Not white, not black. I don't have anything in common with any of them. Where do I fit in? I'm something different. Despite the fact that up until this point, when she was, a politician in South Carolina, she's never tried to portray herself as anything different. She's tried to portray herself as someone who's like her constituents. But I guess now the mask has slipped. She sees herself as a rootless cosmopolitan. She has absolutely no affinity towards her neighbors, whether they be white or black. I mean, that is the summary of what she said. So I think this campaign is the stuff of nightmares. And thankfully, in today's America, she has no chance. Her only constituency is Conservatism Inc. And by that I mean the most corporatized of the right-of-center media. People whose paychecks are signed by Rupert Murdoch. That is her entire constituency. And at some level, she must know this. Unless she's completely delusional like John Kasich. But I don't think she is. I do think that she's a little smarter than John Kasich. So what is her aim? That's what all this comes down to. Is it to be Trump's vice president? If so, this is kind of a weird way of getting there. I mean, running against him when you were already part of his administration. That seems more like someone who is trying to distance themselves from Trump. So I don't see how this, makes her the VP. Because this isn't like Reagan in 1980, where Reagan came in and he was kind of already a favorite because he, ran in 76 and didn't win, and so he was a big electoral juggernaut in the Republican primary, and so old Bush came in like Nikki Haley, representing everything that was wrong with the Republican Party. That was what he was campaigning in favor of, and ultimately when he lost, Reagan brought him in to try and say to the worst parts of the Republican Party and all the bad politicians, hey, you're welcome here too. But I don't see why Trump would have to do that in 2024. Unless he's so stupid to think that he can co-opt Republican politicians again, even though that didn't work for him in 2016 through 2020. So I don't know where this goes. Currently, last I saw, she's polling third in her own home state. And if she's really that electorally irrelevant, again, why would she become vice president? Why would this make Trump more likely to pick her? So we'll have to see. I thought that maybe thinking it through this out loud, I'd come to some kind of conclusion, but I really haven't. So I'm open to ideas. If anybody has any idea what Nikki Haley's doing, hey, let me know. Someone asked me that back in 2016 about Rick Santorum. They said, hey, what the hell's Rick Santorum doing running for president? 2012 would have been his year if there ever was one, and he didn't win then. He's not going to win now. What's he doing? And my answer back then, at least I had one, I said, well, he's got a book out. He can sell some books. Nikki Haley doesn't have that. Nikki Haley gave up her lucrative position. Her meal ticket was being on the board of Boeing. She had already done enough to earn her keep. She's going to be a very wealthy woman for the rest of her life, no matter what she does. Rick Santorum in 2016, he had nothing going for him. He was out of the Senate, I think, and he had no job, had that book deal, needed to sell some books, and then he rolled that campaign into a CNN contributorship, just like John Kasich. Did that gig for a few years, and who knows what he's doing now. So, with all that said, I will see you folks back here tomorrow.